Babe, guess what? In the scheme of things, this is a quick turnaround. But guess what? It's time for the weekly news review and opinion roundup thing. Yeah, I've still haven't got a name that works, but we will do one day. Probably not. Anyway, we're going to be looking at the news from this week, and I'll be honest with you, I mean, it's just crap, innit? If you listen to this on the podcast, then feel free to watch it as and when. If you're listening to this or watching this, then comment in the comment section. And if you are watching this live, then definitely, God, I've had that thing on too long, I'll look balder than ever. JT, welcome. Rachel as well. Dream Frequency, lots of quick turnarounds. We've just finished doing a live stream of retro gaming. I mean, this channel, I always say to people, it's like Channel 5 without the budget and the talent, but certainly the variety. The only thing I don't do is go on trains. Maybe I should do that. I mean, I've done buses, done cars. Maybe I should go on trains, and do a thing on trains, get a train ticket and go to trains and things. But I can't because I work 7 days a week. So that's not, I'm going so bald, it's so scary. Mind you, there are people who come into my shop who are still at school when I first opened, and they're bolder than I am. So, you know, I've done better than them, so, yeah. Elder's on. No, I'm on. NE's on. It's twice I've done that with NE. Yeah, we're looking at the news, and I'll be honest with you, it's a storm. It's an absolute shitstorm this week. There's nothing about the news that I can figure that is actually any good. So I'm going to show you at the end of this a little clip that I filmed in the shop that might cheer you up. Country's on fire. Of course it is. We've got a Labour government. What do you expect? It was on fire last time we had a Labour government. Stephen, LFC, Stephen, Kelly and Rollo. To be fair, it's probably better off being a dog than being a human, because at least they've got no awareness of what's going on the news or anything else. But yeah, it's absolute looks, the whole thing. Anyway, yeah, and it's, I mean, like, just watch Rate My Takeaway. What? Don't know what that is. I've just been playing some very weird Mega CD games, which I've never done before because I've never had a Mega CD. Should I shave all my hair off? Should I give up now and just say, you know what, I'm bald? No, I'm not doing that yet. Anyway, yeah, Dream Frequencies has told us the country's on fire, which is great if it was winter time. It's not helping with global warming though, is it? God, them lefties will be fuming. It's bad enough, isn't it, that you know, they're writing about things that aren't necessarily the yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that in a bit. So, I'll Rate My Takeaways, a channel on. Excuse me. There's only one channel on YouTube that is worth watching. Yep, that's right. It's not this one, obviously. I wouldn't watch this. I don't watch any channel on YouTube, to be fair. Apart from occasionally Talk TV, when they talk a bit of nonsense. I'm going to make one of those microwave kebabs in a bit. I don't know if it's universal credit style. Don't knock them till you try them. Yeah, I've had no food tonight, and I'm feeling it a little bit. High tea, by the way, in the background. I assume A will be on in a bit. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, etc. Or put it another way, etc. Have you watched Colin Firth? No, of course not. I don't watch anyone on YouTube. I work 7 days a week in a shop that I own, to be fair, and I then stay behind sorting stuff out until like 8 o'clock, and then I drive home, and then I have my tea for about 10 o'clock, and then I catch up with the TV that I've missed while I've been out, and then I go to bed, and then I get up again. Rollo says, woof woof woof, to cheer everyone up after this bad week. Well, yeah. Anyway, that's what I think about the news, to be fair. It's so depressing. You know, this is meant to be a light-hearted show, and since I started doing it, we've had, well, to be fair, I started doing it when COVID was on, so yeah, technically, it was bad news to begin with. And then we had multiple leaders of the Conservative Party, none of whom were any good. Apart from Sunak, I quite like Sunak. I mean, yeah, he hasn't got a clue what he's doing, but he's the best Prime Minister we've had. The worst Prime Minister we've had is Liz Truss. The second worst Prime Minister we've had is Keir Starmer. Although he's catching up fast, I'll be honest with you. It's been rough this week. Thank you, Kelly. That is basically the level of this broadcast. Anyway, I'm going to crack on. One thing I've noticed this week is the bias of the BBC. Now, I always thought people were going on about the BBC being biased and a little bit too much, but I've definitely seen it this week. But we will see what I make of the news, because, well, it's been shit. We've got 10 people watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And comment as well. I love people commenting in the comments section, which I think is down there. Although, depending on what device you're on, it might be down there, it might be here, it might be in my face. I have no idea where it is. But anyway, yeah, do all that. So, we are going to have a look at the week's news, starting with Monday, the 29th of July. We're already in August. I mean, already in August. So 29th of July, Monday. Here we go. 17-year-old arrested after stabbing in Southport dance class for school kids, very young school kids. At the time, 2 dead, 9 injured, 6 seriously. 2 adults also injured. Also on Monday, less than 4 weeks into Rachel Reeves being the first ever female Chancellor, what could possibly go wrong? She offers 22% to the junior doctors, which apparently they've rejected. Pensioners are going to be means tested for winter fuel payments, i.e. if you get so much in private pensions, you will not get the winter fuel payments, which, let's be honest, isn't a huge amount of money for a government, but is a lot of money for individual pensioners. And I've spoken to a few pensioners recently who actually don't qualify because their pensions are somewhere in the region of £1 or less than £1 a week more than the qualification. Now, I appreciate there's got to be a cut-off point somewhere, but surely there's got to be some leeway in this as well. I mean, if you're a multimillionaire, if you are, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a rich pensioner. A rich pensioner. Come on, rich pensioner, think of one. Well, if you're a rich pensioner, you probably don't need, if you're in the House of Lords, you don't need winter pension, winter fuel allowance, whatever it is. But just because you earn, or you've got a pension, because you've worked and you've earned that pension, this is what gets me. Labour Party meant to be about the working people. People who are not entitled now to the winter fuel payments are people who've worked pretty much all their lives, built a pension up for themselves to live on, and have put a lot of money into the economy, including obviously when the Tories were in, but also when Labour were in as well, and probably even the Lib Dems. Some of them, if the pensioners, were probably paying into the pot even when Liberals were in, which was after the World War. So this is absolute bullshit from Labour. I mean, they've not been in a month yet, and they're already over the pensioners, as was predicted by Rishi Sunak, who kept going on about they're going to rob the pensioners, they're going to rob the pensioners. And guess what? They're robbing the pensioners. Labour throwing the mandate a month in. Oh no, it's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse. Yeah, more of that in a bit. Anyway, they're now saying that there was a Tory cover-up on the economy. Bearing in mind that all the money, that's not all the money, all the numbers that are given out to the Conservatives, that they give out to the people via the news and via publications or whatever, are not actually done by the government. They're also viewable by any of us online, so we can all go online if we could be arsed and look at all these details. Now, I'm not the Chancellor of the Exchequer. I have no intention of being the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Rachel Reeves is the Chancellor of the Exchequer. All of a sudden she's like, me, it's a lot worse than we thought. Hang on a minute, Labour. You've been telling us how fucking shit the Conservatives have been for the last 10 years. You've been telling us that the Conservatives have been fucking up the economy for the last 10 years. You've been telling us it's never been so bad. Bearing in mind, the Labour Party left the country bankrupt when they got kicked out after, the war criminal that is Tony Blair and the absolute muppet that was Gordon Brown were in charge. But no, we'll move that out of the way. I just don't get how thick they think we are. I mean, to be fair, we did vote them in. I didn't vote Tory or Labour, to be fair, this time round. But that's not the point. They did get in, and they got a massive majority, with 1 million less votes than they got when they were wiped out under Jeremy Corbyn. How does this work? Is this democracy? Less than 30% of the population of Britain, considerably less than 30% of the population of Britain, voted for a Labour government. Yeah. Anyway, they're going to say now that they're going to pay in full what the review bodies say. The pay review bodies would say into stuff. This is probably telling me that I'm online. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'm online apparently. You can watch me live if you want. Who knew? No, we're not having ads yet. Go away. But anyway, pay review bodies for public is a difficult decision. They've binned some of the infrastructure, and Hunt says in her first big speech, she breaks the trust of the British people. When I was in training, I got 90 quid a week. Anyway, I digress. I'm older than you, considerably. I'm old enough to be your your dad, not your granddad. When I was in training, youth opportunities, I got £23.50 a week. And my mum, she took £18.50 of that off me for rent. Me. Anyway, yeah, Labour Party, absolute cluster. We need an election, we need a general election, we need it now, and we need to get someone else in. And I'm not saying the Tories, I'm not even saying Nigel Farage, I'm just saying someone else, please God. Anyway, also on Monday, the 29th of July, Hugh Edwards, who was the news anchor, who always kind of went like that when he was reading the news, which I always thought was pretty cool. What I didn't realise was he was probably just looking at kiddie porn on his phone. Is charged for 3 counts of making indecent images of children. I wonder how that goes on during the rest of the week. And they're mourning at £15 an hour. Yes, we get you're a trainee doctor. Yeah, I know what you mean. YTS training scheme. I was on 50 quid a week. Had to give my dad 30 quid. Yeah. It'll come back probably, this government. But they'll take the 15 quid off you. So you'll be earning like 100 quid a week. But you'll only be getting like £5 because they'll take it off you in taxes. July 2024. It was a Tuesday. It was the 30th as well. Now 3 dead in Southport attack. Sadly, a 9-year-old child passed away overnight. There was a peaceful vigil in the centre of Southport near the Town Hall on Lord Street, but there were violent clashes between protesters and police. The 17-year-old in custody has been living in the area, as in the Southport area, since 2013. This is what we're being told by the establishments. But was born in Cardiff from Rwandan parents. Yvette Cooper and Kier Starmer lay flowers at the site, and he has abuse thrown at him. I'd have thrown something else at him, to be fair, and I'm not a violent man, but yeah, needs must and all that. Meanwhile, Israel carries out drone attack on Beirut over the last weekend. An attack, say, was aimed at Hezbollah. The housing crisis will be sorted by the Labour government, as Angela Rayner says, new housing targets in areas but less in London. In many areas but less in London. It's not rolling hills of Suffolk, she says. Housing targets are mandatory, she said. I mean, they're talking out of their fucking arses, our Labour. I mean, yeah, it's all well and good to say we're going to build 15 billion houses in 5 minutes, but we haven't got the people to build the 15 billion houses in any time whatsoever. So you can say what you want, but these targets are going to be missed. You're basically heading for failure. Not my government. Arrest warrant issued for Katie Price over bankruptcy. Apparently she didn't turn up in court, so an arrest warrant has been set for Katie Price, aka Jordan, allegedly. All loads of text. What do you do, Dream? Should have gone on strike, mate. It was someone's fashion house. Oh, Liber. Yeah, there you go. July 2024, 31st was Wednesday. Culture Secretary wants an urgent meeting with the BBC over Hugh Edwards saying viewing child exploitation images of a 7-year-old, and he also pleads guilty in court. Could face 10 years in prison. I mean, it's one thing to go from reading the news and announcing the Queen's death to actually being the headlines of the news. The whole thing is a complete mess. Now, apparently these images that he viewed were sent to him by someone, and if he'd reported them and not viewed them, maybe viewed one and then thought, whoa, what's this, and then reported them to the police, might have got away with it. But no, he viewed them all, including a 7-year-old boy being very, 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 very badly abused. So yeah, everything, just chuck the book at him. Last night's riots in Southport, 50 police and 3 police dogs were injured. Community helped to tidy up and rebuild the wall of a mosque. People were targeting a mosque in Southport, not far from where the stabbing incident occurred. However, there was no proof at the time that the stabber, the 17-year-old, was actually Muslim. It was just assumed by people who assume these things that he was. Turns out he wasn't, isn't. Fake news, yeah. The problem we've got is there's a lot of stuff online that people believe that isn't true. Hang on a minute, this is online. People believe this. None of it's true. ONE, best skill that I've ever learnt. I know trades are considered stupid, but I was planning on going uni and went different route. All my mates that went uni working at Tesco and stuff, and big money. Trades if you want to. I did a level law and stuff, just couldn't be arsed with the bar that I got told and stuff. Plan to be a solicitor. My Saturday lad is planning to be a solicitor. Yeah, but we didn't get Dream Frequency. This is Wednesday. There was no ID, there was no pictures, there was nothing that had been officially released at the time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's a cover-up going on. I'm not saying that some of the truth is being brushed under the carpet, because obviously there's something being brushed under the carpet, but we're only on Wednesday the 31st of July here. Obviously hindsight is a great thing. Meanwhile, there's protests, protests in West Bank after the assassination of Hamas leader by an airstrike and a drone strike in Iran. Also, the leader of Hezbollah was murdered in Lebanon as well. Both are terrorist organisations, no sympathy with them whatsoever. Missiles and flares were thrown at the gates of Downing Street, and in Hartlepool, violence and serious disorder, big protests outside migrant hotels. Now, there is the people who are in the hotels that are migrants. Technically, it's not their fault they're in the hotels. Technically it's their fault they're migrants, or maybe it's not. Maybe they've been told by people to become migrants, but again, that's a whole new can of worms. But you've got to bear in mind that these people in the hotels, we don't know who they are. And this is one of my big arguments. I've even said this in the local paper that I write for, and I even said it, I think, on my election manifesto for the local elections earlier on this year, that these people who come over on these boats, we don't know who they are. We've got no idea. They could be paedophiles, they could be newsreaders, they could be, let's see what I did there, they could be murderers, they could be terrorists, they could be soldiers, they could be assassins, they could be wife beaters, they could be drug dealers, they could be doctors, they could be nice people. We've no idea who they are. So why are we putting them in our hotels and then letting them out of the hotels until we can identify who they are? And that is my main issue with these things. Someone asked a migrant why he was here, he said army. Toff said, social media has a lot to answer for with stuff like this. It does. Social media is a terrible thing. Heard a rumour there was a crate delivered to a hotel. Can't believe I read that out then. 1st of August. Yes, we're already in August. It only seems like 8 months ago. It was bloody New Year. 17-year-old in court charged with 3 murders and 10 attempted murders. Restrictions lifted and he was named. I'm not going to say his name because as far as I'm concerned he deserves to rot in hell, and I'm not giving him the opportunity to be named on this channel. I do that with all terrorists. I do not believe that any terrorist should be named other than calling them a cowardly terrorist. For example, the bomber in Manchester should not be referred to by name. He should be referred to as the coward terrorist who murdered, and then name one of the victims, working your way through the list every time you do it, and we remember the victims and not the name of the perpetrator. They are basically told, if you sacrifice yourself, I know this is Muslim and this other guy isn't Muslim, but it's the same kind of thing. If you sacrifice yourself for the cause, our cause, whatever that cause would be, you become immortal, you live forever. And news reports mentioning their name is basically doing that. I mean, the rest of it is bullshit, they're dead. But their name lives on, and it shouldn't do. It should be the victims' names that live on. So this person who's in court and being charged with these murders and attempted murders should not be referred to by his name. He should be referred to as the cowardly murderer of, and then name the 3 children that he murdered. We should not be honouring or mentioning his name at all, ever. Anyway, rant over. Apparently it's on the autism spectrum, aren't we all? I mean, seriously, we're all on the autism spectrum. If we're not, there's something wrong with you. I'd be more worried if he wasn't on the autism spectrum. He was born in Cardiff and brought up in Banks, which is near Southport. 2 children who were injured in the attack have been allowed home, which is some good news. And Starmer says we need more facial recognition. Now this is the, you're definitely on the spectrum. Banks rich ass. It's not all Banks is rich. I know Banks very well. I'll be honest with you, I do know Banks very well. I particularly like that road that you can drive down that's on the coast of Banks, and the marshland and everything. You go past that garage and all that kind of thing. So I do know Banks very well, and it is a fairly wealthy area. But that's not really the point. Anyway, yeah, we need more facial recognition, says Keir Starmer. I mean, basically, he's making us into a police state. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not backing these cowards who are going around attacking retail outlets and mosques and things like that. No, that's wrong. But facial recognition, I don't even think supermarkets should be allowed to use facial recognition. If you go into Asda in Wigan, the big Asda, when you walk in, there's a massive TV screen above your head. If you look at that, you'll see that your face is on there and it's got a square around it because facial recognition. Don't agree with it. I think we all need privacy. If I've got grandchildren who are 6 and 4 or 5, 6 and 4, and if they go into there, why have they got permission, Asda, to hold the image of my grandchildren? So Keir Starmer is talking out of his arse again. They showed him as a schoolboy in pictures. He was going to be in comic relief Doctor Who. There's a picture of that later on. He was in it. Never caught me who robbed a cheese and onion pasty before. It's not usually that kind of thing you rob though, is it? Meanwhile, there's a prisoner exchange with USA and Russia. So basically there was an American, I think it was a CNN or a New York Times reporter who'd been falsely accused, allegedly, of spying, etc., was jailed for a long time, and suddenly he's been swapped for convicted actual assassins, murderers and terrorists, which gives Putin more a reason to falsely arrest people, charge them, find them guilty, in order to get his actual terrorist people back. But anyway, Americans and allies, 26 people were swapped. It's the biggest since the Cold War, the biggest swap. The BBC Director General knew in November of last year that Hugh Edwards had been arrested for indecent images of children, but they still paid him for months afterwards. His argument is, I kind of see where he's coming from, which is really annoying because I don't want to. Innocent till proven guilty, but there are some things that you've got to be like, hang on a minute, no, we've got to draw a line here. We're going to suspend you without pay until you're proved innocent. But no, they give him a £40,000 pay rise as well, even though he was off air by this point for the technically unillegal thing that he did with the 20-year-old paying someone to send images of themselves naked. It's not something I would do. I wouldn't send them. You've got to go on my OnlyFans for that and pay 50p. There's not a lot to see, so I'm not going to charge over the odds, am I? Anyway, it's disgraceful, says Two-Tier Kier, which is his new nickname that appeared, or first time I saw it on Thursday. He's shocked and appalled, even though like lots and lots of people in high office are up to that kind of thing. But no, he's shocked and appalled. Oh, Two-Tier Kier. Wasn't he the guy who didn't pursue claims against Jimmy Savile when he was the leader of the Crown Prosecution Service or whatever it was in law? Didn't he let Jimmy Savile basically off? And now he's shocked and appalled? Two-Tier Kier. Absolute waste of space. Interest rates are down. It's the first time in years, but it was going to happen anyway, regardless of Rachel Reeves talking even more shit. In fact, it'd probably go up again. Meanwhile, an Italian female boxer quits 46 seconds in the Olympics against a... This is where it gets complicated. I've written trans woman, but apparently it's not a trans woman. But then, I don't know. I just don't agree that if you are trans, you should not be competing in competitions. Particularly if you're a trans female, i.e. born and went through puberty as male, you should not be competing in any women's sports whatsoever. By all means, have a trans section. I mean, we've got, RuPaul's Drag Race. Whoa, that's gonna get a few snowflakes upset, isn't it? But just because it says the women on the passport doesn't necessarily mean the women. There was a thing I saw a while ago on the news, I think it was on actually GB News, and it was some woman saying, or no, it wasn't GB News, it was Talk TV, and it was some trans woman saying that she's got proof that she's a woman, and questioning whether a woman who was the news presenter, Petre Hoskins, I think she is, was actually had proof that she was a woman. And I'm like, hang on a minute, you're a bloody trans man, no, trans woman, you were a man, but she was born a woman and is still a woman, so how dare you ask her if she's got proof that she was a woman? But this is the world we're living in, and Keir Starmer wants more of this because he's an absolute fucking waste of space. Anyway, he gave a press conference, didn't he, earlier on this week, and I ended up watching it on Friday because I hadn't had time up to that. Apparently, we make no distinction. Crime is crime, he said in his little speech thing, press conference, etc. Unless, of course, it's non-white people, you know, Leeds riots, you know, where they set the bus on fire, where police cars were rolled over and smashed, and the police just left the scene. We make no distinction. Crime is crime. Then you've got the far right, okay, they're idiots as well, trashing the place. You get riot police, you get dogs, you get all that kind of shit going on, but there's no distinction. Crime is crime. He wants wider deployment of facial recognition, and he's going to talk to Muslims to actually make them feel safer. Well, what about British people feeling safe, particularly women? I've seen people who are not of English ethnicity, literally, they might as well have been pleasuring themselves looking at girls coming out of the college in Wigan when it's hot weather. I mean, the drooling, it was ridiculous. If I was a woman, if I was a young girl, I would not feel safe on my own streets. Yet Keir Starmer's saying he's talking to Muslims to make them feel safer. He's even repeated it today. Everyone should be treated equally. As he said, he makes no distinction. Crime is crime. Yes, crime is crime. No matter who does it, crime is crime. The far right, smashing up shops, abusing police, smashing up hotels, even setting them on fire, that's a crime. Burning a bus in Leeds when you're non-white origin, apparently that's fine. I mean, what is going on? He's going to take every step to keep Muslims safe. What about the rest of us? I mean, I genuinely now have changed one of my routes home from walking, because when I walked through there was a group of people who were non-white, don't know who they were, but they just all stared at me as I walked past. I've never felt so uncomfortable in my life. If you watch the videos, you watch my vlogs, you remember a week or two ago I had my hat stolen while I was on the canal. To be fair, they were all white boys. So, you know, crime is crime, blah, blah, blah. But you can't eat. And I said this before the election, Keir Starmer doesn't want to offend anyone unless we're white. If we don't agree with what he says, we're all right wing, and that is bullshit. We are not all right wing. The right wing are right wing. We don't like the right wing, but it's just ridiculous. Civil war is coming, yeah. All the immigrants are trained by UN. What? Who said it's fine? Aye, Flink. There was a stabbing in Wigan in the middle of the street just a week or so ago. People are scared and concerned. Of course they are, Maz. That's what I'm on about. You don't feel safe on your own streets. Now, it's not a case of we've got to pick on, you know, the Muslims, or we've got to pick on the Jewish, or we've got to pick on the people from Poland or whatever. There are equal number of people who are British born and bred who are committing all the crimes now, and then he's sorting out as well. It's just they seem to be picking on people that they think if they pick on them or don't pick on them or whatever, they're going to look like they're being racist. My point is, does anyone actually have any evidence from people of non-white origin being charged for crimes? Not being charged for crimes. Well, we look at if you look at the riots in Leeds, which is the most recent one, the police just left. Even the camera crews that were there at the time's like, there's no police here, they've all gone. And there's stuff being smashed up, the shops being looted. Okay, it was more of a residential area, but there were people in those houses. Police had just buggered off, but they've not buggered off for any of the stuff going on in the last week or so. They've all been there for that, and they've all had the riot squads and everything. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be there, and they shouldn't be stopping these far-right people from doing what they're doing. Yes, but it's got to work both ways. You can't have a two-tier system, and at the moment, we've got a two-tier system. And it seems to be that the minorities are the ones that seem to get the preferential treatment from the government. They know that Leeds was they don't know that Leeds was an isolated incident. I was alive when we had the riots in Toxteth, and that spread pretty much around the country. It was also around a few years ago when there were the riots in London, and they spread around the country as well. All riots spread around the country for whatever reason. They are actively arresting people. They've already opened up courts. Keir Starmer's set up courts so people can be charged and convicted straight away in these cities where the riots are going on. I'm from North Wales, lived there 25 years. More has happened in 2 years since I moved here. Yeah. No, we're going down the route of a police state, and it's got to be fair for everyone. Everyone has to be treated equally. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter your beliefs. It doesn't matter your sexuality. All that's irrelevant. It's whether or not you're actually a law-abiding citizen or you're not. And these people who are doing the far-right stuff at the moment, they are not law-abiding citizens. They need to be treated and given the full force of the law, 100%. But it's got to work both ways. That's the problem. I'm going to move to Wales. Oh, Wales is a shithole, especially Rhyl. Yeah, I don't want to go to Rhyl. Anyway, we're up to Friday the 2nd of August. Unrest in Sunderland. Media start using the term far-right for everything that isn't what they agree with. Many police involved, unlike in Leeds. This is what I wrote on Friday. Police call for reinforcements. Huge number of police in Liverpool. Lisa Nandy talks shit again and should resign. She's our MP, but she shouldn't be. We all have bones and blood. We were born and we die. No one is different. Exactly. Oh, really? It's bad. Everyone who has... Yeah, exactly. That is one of my points. If you don't agree with Starmer and the way he's handling things, you're instantly a far-righter. And I'm like, I don't remember being far-right. But, yeah. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, back to the Middle East. Retaliation is coming, says Iran and Hamas after the assassination of the leader of Hamas. World War III, I don't know, but certainly it's going to kick off very, very soon indeed. Yesterday, Saturday the 3rd of August, Blackpool, Belfast, Leeds, Stoke-on-Trent, Bristol, Hull, Nottingham, Liverpool, Manchester, all have marches and protests. I know people who were not at the march but saw the marches in Manchester, only Manchester, no others, and they said what they saw in real life of the protesters and what was shown on the media was completely different. There was a few scuffles, but there was more peaceful than there was scuffles. So, I don't know. Anyway, the government have says, Yvette Cooper, anyone involved will have to pay the price, she says. Again, Leeds, still waiting. Hashtag 2-tier Kier is becoming very popular. No way up. Rage bait sells better. Yeah, exactly. This is my favourite YouTuber. I don't know who that is. It's like dogs. We have different coloured ones. We don't treat a brown one to a white one. Oh yes, we do, Kelly. I hate white dogs. I'm saying that because I know Rollo's brown. I said a couple of weeks ago, or even last week, that I'm no longer covering the news from America from the source I was covering it from because it was so biased. What I've realised now is I've looked for other media outlets and they're all biased in different ways. So I've dropped the news from America completely. I'm sticking with Australia because they just don't give a shit. They just say what they think, and I kind of like that. So we're going to have some Australian news in a bit. Meanwhile, on Sunday the 4th, France, along with the United Kingdom, America and various other countries, have told its citizens to leave Lebanon immediately. Good evening, Andy the Cyclist. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, by the way, if you're new to this. We do this every week. We've done it for 3 years, so please like, share, subscribe. Justice for Rollo. New hashtag. Yeah, I mean, Dream Frequency, going on about the media always do that. They show, you know, there's like two people have a scuffle, and they only show that and say that's what it was like everywhere. And it's basically clickbait. You know, you don't go for clickbait. A couple of friends from different places seem recent asylum seekers got better treatment than immigrants for years, a lot living in poverty and can barely afford bills. Yeah, I mean, the government at the moment are just, they've been in, what, a month? I've never anything like it. I mean, Liz Truss was bad, but my God, we didn't have riots when Liz Truss was in. Don't get me wrong, I didn't vote Tory. Don't think I'm a Tory. I just think the better the devil you know, and so far I'm being proved right. I hope they prove me wrong, but I think I'm being proved right. Anyway, Sunday the 4th, ergo, just about still today. Yeah, France tells its citizens and everyone to leave Lebanon. There's a fear of major escalation of a war and conflict in the region. So yeah, basically, if you're in Lebanon, get out of there while you still can. Although apparently flights have been cancelled. There's more riots in Southport, Rotherham, Hull and Bolton. The PM says riots, people participating in the riots will regret taking part. He utterly condemns the far right. The Home Office offer new emergency measures and security for all the mosques that feel threatened. Yeah, because, you know, that's what we want, isn't it? Last riots were Cameron was back in 2010 in London. I imagine these riots will still be taking place if the Tories were still in, though. Not like the Southport stabbings were a direct result of Starmer's leadership. No, exactly, they weren't. I agree on that. Labour has a lot to do with this. Because they didn't stamp down, the police didn't stamp down on what was going on in Leeds. They've also said that they're going to release prisoners early from prison. So there is no reason to fear committing a crime. So the people doing this now feel that they've got justification to do it because this is what they believe and they think that they can do it. But Labour have already said that people are going to get released from prison, there's going to be more community, stuff like that. They're now saying that they're going to make room in prisons for all these people who are committing these crimes. But I don't know how they're going to do that. We haven't got enough room in the prisons for the people who've already committed crimes that are still waiting trial. So the whole thing is a nonsense. Do you think it's right that prisoners are allowed to vote? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I never vote, but if you think it's wrong that they aren't allowed, I suppose it depends what you've done. I mean, if you're a compulsive shoplifter, then maybe. But if you're a mass murderer, a paedophile, rapist, or something like that, then no. But yeah, I don't get why people can vote in prison. I must admit, I never got that because, if someone says we're going to let all the prisoners out, then everyone in prison is going to vote for them, aren't they? So it's all a bit weird. I regret not voting Reform now. There's normally no reason, even before Labour, you get a slap on the wrist for anything below murder, you get more time for drugs. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting very bogged down in this, it has to be said. Currently got 25 viewers, which is fantastic, thank you. Doesn't matter whether you agree with me or disagree with me, join in the chat. That's what it's all about. We're discussing this. The main thing is that the majority of news outlets, etc., don't want you to give your opinion. We want people to give the opinion. And that's what it's all about. What chair do you have? I don't know. It's just one I got off Amazon. I think I did an unboxing and setting up of it, so if you go into the unboxing playlist you'll find out. I do as if there's prison they should have a choice if they want to have a say on the world to be on the outside. I suppose if you've got a life sentence it's a bit pointless, isn't it, having a vote, because nothing's going to change for you. So yeah, anyway. Labour won't do anything for small businesses. Yeah, they will. They'll screw us over like they've done with the pensioners. They're basically, as I said earlier on, if you just joined us, I said earlier on that Labour for the last 10 plus years have been telling us how crap the Tories are, how crap they are with the economy, how much money they've spent, how little money we've got left, how everything is falling apart, the army, infrastructure, the economy, banking, jobs, the NHS. None of it's got enough money because there's no money, and then they get in power and they're like, fucking hell, there's no actual money. God, we're so surprised, we're going to have to put all the taxes up we said we wouldn't put up. Expect in the at the end of this month in the budget, pay per mile tax for your cars, including electric cars, possible more of these 15-minute cities where you get charged for driving your car out of your zone more than 15 times a year. Expect heavy increases on cigarettes, alcohol, vape tax. Expect oh, the chair, there you go. I know someone who only got 9 years for murder. Yeah. What are your opinions on reform, Elder? Labour doesn't do anything for the proper working man. No, they don't. A lot of life doesn't mean life for a lot of people. That is true as well. I feel sorry for the next generation, like my future kids, if this is what it's like just this year. Oh, digital money as well. Yes, that's another one I get excited about. And of course, electric cars. With electric cars. Yeah, the whole, everything at the moment is completely messed up. And is there a way out of it? Yeah, there is. Reform, are they the answer? I don't think reform would actually make a better job of it. But what they'd do is, if they got in, I think the economy would be screwed, and I think everything else. But they sort the migrant problem out, definitely. And they probably sort a few other bits and pieces out as well. But what it'd do is, it would shoot an enema up the arses of the Conservative and the Tories, who basically think, it doesn't matter what we do, we'll get voted in anyway. But if they think, hang on a minute, reform have got in, Jesus Christ, what have we done wrong? They might rethink what they're doing and actually work for us, rather than working for themselves and their rich buddies with their businesses. ULEZ all over the country, 100%. We spend a lot on migrant hotels still, yeah. I imagine housing would be more affordable under reform. Yeah, I mean, the problem with housing is there's not enough affordable housing. We need more affordable housing, and we're not getting it because, well, there's nowhere to build it. So the government at the moment and the previous governments are on about, you know, we're going to build X number of houses, blah, 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 which is all well and good, but we haven't got the people to actually build the houses because you know, we've basically shipped off all the Poles back to Poland because the economy is better in Poland than it is over here, so they've all gone back home. And most British teenagers these days don't seem to want to do something like that. They all want to be influencers and the like, or all have you know, amazing 8-pack bodies and all that kind of thing, and showing out the working out in the gym and all that shit, and that's how they're going to make the money. I can't even move out at the moment. The rent's through the roof, and I can't even think about getting a mortgage with bills. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the whole country and the whole world is completely messed up. And is it other people who are doing this? Is it like the people above the governments who are organising all this? Is it the equivalent of your oh, I don't know, leaders of Facebook or whatever? When they come out of the hotel, they get 7 grand for expenses, rent, etc., etc. Yeah, I mean, everything is messed up at the minute, and you know, I have no problem with people coming. You know, we shouldn't have gone to war in Afghanistan. Tony Blair, George Bush, war criminals, full stop. Should be in prison, should be in, at least in court in The Hague, along with Putin and Netanyahu and all them kind of people. 100% we should not have done that, but what we did do is we did do that, and we then got people in Afghanistan to work as translators for the enemy, which was us, and there we abandoned them and we left them, and I'm like, we can't do that. We were the ones who did up for them. They had a decent life, or decent-ish life, before we come along, and now they're running away because they're being, you know, looked at and hunted down by the Taliban. So those people, it's our fault. We need to look after them. We need to house them. We need to look after them. We need to get them here and keep them safe. It's our fault they're in the predicament they're in. These people coming over on the boats, no sympathy for whatsoever. I'm not saying we get machine guns and we sink the boats or anything daft like that. No, we take them back to the last safe country they were from, which is legally we're allowed to do. Last safe country they come from was France. End of. Simple. Alternatively, all the ones that get over here, we fly back to France, and for everyone we send back, we charge them 10,000 euros, because we are paying France to stop them coming over here in the first place, and they ain't doing that. If I was going to France, so say for example, if there was persecution of old men who were going bald with big noses and brown eyes, and I feared for my life, I would flee. Oh, okay, I wouldn't go to France, but for example, I would flee to France. But on me, I would have my documents and say, look, this is the reason why I'm going. I'm balding, I've got brown eyes, I've got a big nose, but here's who I am. I am not a terrorist, I am not a dangerous person, I'm not a paedophile, I'm not a rapist, I've never been in the army, I'm a safe person to have in your country, please can I have asylum? I would not be like going over on a boat and chucking all my stuff over the side and then expecting you know, the red carpet coming out. They cut the money to pensioners, yet can find 86 million for Ukraine. Yeah. Can you blame? I have to lift my tools out my van and load them every morning from little scroats. Yep. Asylum is usually for people fleeing, but we have a big influx from Africa. They come here for a better life, and they had it in the first place. Some of the Afghans have been taking holidays back home. One guy had been back to Afghan 3 times in 2 years. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're all perfect. Don't get me wrong. None of us are perfect. Jesus, you know, God, it'd be boring if everyone was bleeding perfect. We all like the same thing. But what I'm saying is, we need to do something that is fair for everyone, and we've got to take into account the repercussions from the actions that we've done in the past. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we should pay people for slavery in the 1600s. I mean, that's absolute nonsense. I'm not saying, looking back at it now, that slavery was a good thing. Obviously it wasn't. But all those people are dead. I mean, literally, every single one of them are dead. So no amount of money is going to actually bring them back. The people claiming this money would not exist if it hadn't been for slavery, because their parents, great-great-great-grandparents, would not have ended up in the countries they ended up in to have children for them to become descendants of. So if slavery hadn't have happened, the majority of the black people in the West and in America would not exist. So that's an anathema as well. I, daughter lady, instead of writing, if folks can protest peacefully, why do people who seem to want to fight not organise themselves better and go and man the borders? They can fight all they want then. Hey, dotty lady, I'll tell you what, that's not so dotty. A lot do want to peacefully riot. Blair and Bush started it all. Yes, they did. I mean, Blair opened the borders, to be fair, and Bush started the war crimes. It's herd mentality, yeah. Hey up, Elder. Got some chatters. Hope your channel blows up. So people get dragged in and carried away. England ended slavery. Yeah, we did, but again, we can't take credit for that. That was 200 years ago, or 150 years ago, whatever. It's got nothing to do with us. So, you know, all this stuff about that is just completely irrelevant bunkum. Glass Gaza. Hi Anita, welcome. Flink, seeing the clips of the protesting Scousers smashing up a phone shop and shouting, "Get the phones." Well, a cheap point, lads. Yeah, let's be honest. Not these. A lot of these people are not there for the reasons that they should be there for, and if they are for the reasons that they should be there for, and they are there for the reasons that they believe in, and they believe in these reasons, they should not be smashing into shops full stop. I mean, we had a possibility of riots yesterday in Wigan, and I actually wrote a sign to put in my window just in case they came down the mall of the shopping centre I'm in, saying English owned business. That's how, you know, and I don't think I should be doing that. I don't think that's relevant, but there we go. Do you think the riots will spread to Alton Towers next week, says Corporal. I've got a group ticket next Tuesday, hoping they won't stop me from going on Oblivion. They might not stop you going on Oblivion, but you might end up in Oblivion. Slavery has been going on for thousands of years. Yeah, of course it has. Not a fun fair, it'll be at town centres at the most. Trains may stop though. Crystal Nacht? Have I just said something? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. It's all got very serious, but that's because this is what the fucking news is. It's just absolutely terrifying what's going on. But I'm going to lighten the mood. I was going to show this at the end, but I'm going to show it now. Because we just need to lighten the mood a little bit. So let's calm things down and let's play a little clip. I've got a friend who needs some help. Diego, he's got to rescue dinosaurs, but he can't find them anywhere. If you see that one anywhere, let me know, because I'm really, really terrified of... And there you go. I hope you're aware this video may end up being removed. I've been on a couple of threads on other platforms in the last 2 days, and most comments or even the whole thread get taken down. Yeah, it was real, Corporal. It was a real dinosaur in my shop. As if you had a dinosaur in your shop. Yeah, it was Dino Takeover at the shopping centre on Friday and Saturday. Well, the argument is, if that is what they're doing, because I'm not actually being racist in any way, shape or form. I do get some of my stuff demonetised, which doesn't bother me. But no, we've got to have freedom of speech. If we can't have freedom of speech, what is the point? And I'm not inciting violence. I am not even saying that what's going on is good around the country or even around the world. All I'm saying is that we need to do something about this. Your shop looks really good. Good place for a nosy. Be well good. Wouldn't it dream I'm going to have a good mooch. Hi Alan. Oh, you've missed the fun today. We've had yeah, you need to go back and watch this back while you can. But yeah, we're having a good day. We've had 193 views so far today. But yeah, the problem you've got is, if you're not allowed to say that the new government we've got is not fit for purpose, then what is free speech? And like I said, they've not been in long, and they've completely and utterly tit up. And I mean completely and utterly tit up. So, well, we're one view off 200 views, which is great. So yeah, we're having a discussion about the news. I'm quite outspoken. I do say what I think. I say it in a way that isn't going to get me locked up, but I do say it, and I'm not afraid of saying it. I also write in the local paper as well, Wigan Today, on Facebook and X, so you can look there. We should have a meet up at Elder's shop. As long as there's no riots, that's alright. Basically, I'm backing the people who are supporting the stopping of illegal boats coming over. I am also backing people who are saying that the people who are already over here should be returned to the country of origin. I am not backing the quote right, far right people who are doing rights around the country, not at all, as I am not backing Israel for what they're doing in Gaza, and I am not backing Hamas for what they did in Israel. You can have an opinion that isn't far right or far left, and that's where I am. I pick the bits that I want, and that's what I believe in. And I think if you don't do that, then you're doing it wrong. And if you're not allowed to do that, then we need a less corrupt government, and we need a government that actually listens to the majority and not pander to the minority, which is what they're doing. Again, you'll have to go back and have a look at that. Anyway, we're now up to the more fun bit of the news programme, which is the news that makes you go, Hamas currency is ultra-violence. Yeah, I've never said I support Hamas, but because I don't support what Israel are doing in Gaza, then people like Talk TV and other people assume that I support Hamas. Of course I don't support Hamas. I've never supported a terrorist organisation in my life. I certainly didn't support the George Bush and Tony Blair when they were terrorists in the Middle East, and they committed all the war crimes they did. I did not support them. So why would I support Hamas? As the same way, why would I support Israel? I do not understand what Israel has got over the rest of the world, that the rest of the world is still supplying weapons to Israel, which are obviously using them to kill civilians. I've said before and I'll say again, I don't understand, particularly at the start of this conflict in Gaza, what the difference is between dropping leaflets on people, telling them where to go and then bombing that area, than to putting people forcibly on trains. What is the difference? I've no idea. But the Western government seems to support Israel no matter what they do. And now we've got them assassinating people. I'm not saying the people who've got assassinated didn't deserve being assassinated. Leader of Hamas, leader of Hezbollah. They were terrorists and they need to be got rid of. But if you can do that, why are you killing civilians? I mean, they showed how they can do strikes when they murdered those aid workers in those 3 cars over a space of an hour and a half. They targeted individual cars. Why are they carpet bombing Gaza? Because Israel are committing war crimes. They are terrorists. Hamas are terrorists. Hezbollah are terrorists. The people in Sudan who were firing rockets and things at shipping are terrorists. Just because one lot of terrorists doesn't mean we have to back the other lot. If everyone's a terrorist, we don't back anyone. And I'll be honest, I've got a grandson who's 6 years old. If he lives to be 106, I can pretty much guarantee people will be slaughtered, will be still being slaughtered in the Middle East. 100%. Because that's what happens there, no matter what we do. And as we found out when we tried to make Afghanistan and Iraq and all them into Western democracies, it doesn't work. It's a different culture. It's the way they work, and we can't change that. There we go. There we go. As soon as you say stop the boats, you are now considered far right. Yeah, I am a far right apparently, even though on the picture I'm on the left. Maybe I should move myself across. Flink says I don't know who he is educated and forms a proper opinion after considering both sides rather than taking the biased news offline and getting angry. Was target practice. It's war of religion. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I know that I'll say it again and again and again. The worst things that humanity has come up with is religion, and religion come up with money. There you go. So the people controlling the world are religions and the financial people, which are owned by the religions as well. Who owns the most land in the United Kingdom? The church. Fact. Look it up. The whole thing is beyond corrupt. But what can we do about it? That's the problem. I mean, you look at any animal on the planet, other than humans. They kill each other for food, sex, i.e., you're not having my women, I'm going to kill you, and again, probably tied with both the first two, land. So this is my territory, this is where my women are, in whatever species you are, my females, this is where my food is, if you come in here I will kill you. Those are the three reasons why animals kill each other. That is it. There's no other. With humanity, the majority of the reasons why we kill people is religion, number one, always has been. Look at the Crusades. And two, money. It might not be killing people to rob banks, but the Gulf War, the war that was illegal, that Blair and Bush did, was about oil. And what's oil about? Money. That's all it's about. And how many people died for that? Look at 9/11. That was about all the same thing. I mean, everything is about religion and money. We don't kill people for a barn cake. We don't. Well, some people do kill people because of affairs and things like that, but it doesn't happen very often. And territory, it's all got to do with money. Why would you fight and kill people for, say, Mongolia, an area in Mongolia? There's nothing there that we've discovered yet anyway. But you wait, if they discover, like, I don't know, something that can power the world without damaging the world, and it's all in Mongolia, there'll be wars in Mongolia, guaranteed. That's humanity. I'm in Chorley Thursday, Elder. I might come to Wigan first. Intelligence is why we have religion. It's from the fear of the unknown and trying to understand. But over the time, a lot of the settlements of humans use religion as an excuse to do horrible things. Yeah, exactly. And that is the problem. It's control. Everything is about control. We are being controlled all the time. Everything we say or do is controlled. I mean, people say, oh, I don't vote because politics doesn't affect me. Politics affects everyone, regardless of who you vote for, regardless of your religion, regardless of your sexuality, regardless of your status in society. Politics affects everyone, and I mean everyone, from a newborn baby to someone being cremated. It's all politics, all the way through. Oops, ad break. Sorry, I meant to stop that. I do apologise. I'll have a drink. This was only meant to be a short stream. I've only been on for an hour and 7 minutes though, so we're doing alright. On premium me. Guinness, yeah, always Guinness. I need to keep my energy up, don't I? Working 7 days a week, no days off, all that kind of stuff. A lot of Guinness makes me look this good. Anyway, we're back apparently. The ad break is over. So yeah, it's complicated to figure out what is the best way forward. And I don't think there is one. I don't think there is. Someone said earlier on, should we get reform in to run the country? I don't think reform would do a decent job at it, but they'd certainly be different. And maybe that's what we need. We need someone in charge who's going to do things differently. I'd do it, but I'd have to be a dictator, because what I come up with would be, very different indeed. And I talked about it in the paper a few weeks ago. Again, you can see it on Wigan Today if you go on the social media. If I was Prime Minister, and there's a picture of me sat in this chair but outside Downing Street. Obviously it's all fake because everything's fake in it. That's not even a real studio. I don't want to break it to you. There's no studio there, that's just a picture. Everything's fake. I'm fake, I don't even exist. This shirt doesn't exist, but thankfully for you, you're imagining it so you can't see what's underneath. You do that when you watch the vlogs. But anyway, no, we digress. The way forward practice is to let the people have more say, for politicians to actually listen to us. I cannot comment on whether or not the suit is real or fake. Fifth Amendment. Anyway, shall we get on to the news that's a little bit more light-hearted, except it isn't? In fact, no, I'm going to get rid of I'm going to do this slightly differently. I'm going to talk about the stuff that's got to do with what's gone on with the riots and everything else. Oh, hang on, let's do it in this bit. No, let's not do it in this bit, let's do it in that bit. So this is what we're looking at. Ignore that, obviously. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. And we'll go... So this is the week's news as reported by various people. This is Australia. This is where I actually first heard about the tragedy that was unfolding in Australia. In Southport, sorry, was Australian news, and I thought it was Southport, Australia. Never occurred to me that it was Southport. You know, my mum and dad, my mum and stepdad had a caravan in Rufford and Holmeswood area, which is on the outskirts of Southport, and I used to get a bus when I was 6 on my own to Southport, going through Banks, which is where this terrorist lives, and then walk around the shops, go to the pleasure beach, have a wander on the beach, look at the pier, and then get back on the bus and come home, back to the caravan. 6 years old. It was the 1970s, you were allowed to do that back then. I was actually in Southport on Monday. It was shopping on Laura Street when it kicked off. Oh dear. Rufford Spuds, yeah, exactly. Thought it was a road accident. Yeah, exactly. It's, you know, the whole thing is awful. 8 people have been rushed to hospital and a man has been detained after a stabbing in northwest England, with a witness comparing the scene to a horror movie. The stabbing has been classified as a major incident, with 13 ambulances and air ambulance sent to the scene. It was a major incident, obviously. Children killed in knife frenzy. Again, this is Australian news. 2 children have died and 9 others injured in a children's dance class. It was a Taylor Swift dance class in northwest England, described as like a scene from a horror movie. A witness described seeing bloody children running from a community centre where a Taylor Swift themed dance and yoga event for children aged between 6 and 11 was taking place. A 17-year-old boy has been arrested and a knife seized after the attack. Yeah, I know the area well. Like I say, I used to go there all the time. Taylor Swift, these were just little kids at a dance class. I'm at complete loss for how to ever convey my sympathies to those families, said Taylor Swift in a very touching tribute, to be fair. Taylor Swift, a very, very smart cookie, and I mean a very smart cookie. And then, machete mob plague Southend seafront as panic onlookers flee the scene. So there was people running around with machetes, and another picture of it. While we're all busy watching what's going on in Southport, this is what's going on in Southend this evening. So lots of people running around with machetes and large knives. Then we have, meanwhile in Britain, a London man walks past the facial recognition cameras and obscures his face from being recorded. Police stopped him and harassed him for this action. This is a glimpse into the future that nobody voted for, the one where the state has total control over you. Now, I think Taylor should go and visit this. I don't think that's necessary. It's not her fault. I went shopping in Southport because I thought it would be safer than Wigan after the stabbing in broad daylight a couple of weeks earlier. Exactly. It's very easy to get those daft knives and machetes that look like they're out of a zombie film. There's no crackdown on it. No, there hasn't been. You're right. This was in Catford, southeast London, and the man covered his face with his hand as he went past a facial recognition camera, and the police leapt on him and basically asked him what he was doing and why he was covering his face. Basically accused him of possibly committing a crime, I don't know, but this is the way we're going. Control is what the government and everyone is after, and we are letting it happen. I mean, facial recognition is everywhere. You can't argue with that. But what you can argue with is the fact that everything you do now is being monitored. From everything you do on your smartphone, every time you click an app and agree to all cookies, they can look at your texts, they can look at your photographs, they can then send that information to various partners that they have. That information is paid for. How many of those partners are linked to the government, or the government watching what you're doing? They're trying to get us to go cashless. As soon as we go cashless, we are, because if you're on benefits in particular, look what they've done with the pensioners already, but if you're on benefits and you decide to go to HMV and buy yourself a CD or treat yourself to a DVD or a Blu-ray, that's going to show up on your bank statement, HMV's machine and everything. And then you may get a knock on the door from the, well, you get an email, wouldn't you, from the DSS or DWP or whatever they're called now, saying, why are you spending your money at HMV on nice items? This stuff is only for food, clothing, essential clothing at that, not nice clothing, and paying your bills, i.e. your rent, your electricity, your gas, your poll tax, that kind of thing. This is what this is for. It is not for going to HMV or anywhere else like that. It could get to the stage where they would block you from going there. So you can go to HMV, there's no cash anymore because they've stopped the cash. You go to HMV, you want to buy your DVD or whatever, you scan the thing and it's like declined. No, you're not allowed to shop there anymore. This is part of the control. Facial recognition is also part of it as well, as is all the CAS cameras that are everywhere, that are keeping an eye on our movements. You've got to bear in mind, if you get a mobile phone and you switch your camera on at night time and you look at these cameras that are supposedly not active on the streets that were put up for the Clean Air Zone, CAS or ULEZ if you're in London or wherever, in the Greater Manchester area they are not being used. However, you put your camera on that and you will see they are working, they are monitoring. A car goes past, they go crazy taking information about that car. That is part of what the government is going to do. Now we've got a Labour government, they are definitely going to put more controls on us. I mean, Rishi Sunak, not the brightest button in the box, but he started to fight back against it. He started fighting back against the zero emissions, the getting rid of petrol-driven cars and diesel cars, because he knows that it's not going to happen. But anyway, there's loads of stuff. The banks will control everything. Just look at China with their social credit system. Yeah, cash is king. China's a whole can of worms. Problem with China is, maybe fake, but certainly possible these days, facial recognition. So I've said, I hate China. I think the government of China are corrupt and they murder innocent people. Now this will be monitored by China, and they will be like, who is this guy? What is he doing? If I ever go to China, facial recognition, my face is here, look, boop, boop. If I go to China and they spot me, I will be arrested. I will then be taken into custody and charged with hate crimes against China, probably. I have no intention of going to China, obviously. But that is what they're like. But say they didn't do that. Say they thought, oh, this idiot who didn't like us is here. They've got facial recognition on vending machines. So I could go to a vending machine to get a can of pop and it wouldn't serve me because I slagged off China on a video 5 years, 10 years earlier. This is where we're going. Watch the film Demolition Man. Basically, that's where we're going. Listen to or watch 1984, George Orwell. He was 40 years too early. He should have written it as 2024 because that's where we're going. You know, I mean, even you can't. You know, if you're a bloke and you see a girl that you fancy, or a woman that you fancy in a bar or whatever, it won't be long before you can't buy her a drink, because if you buy her a drink, then you're obviously asking her for sex, and that's illegal. You can't do that. It's basically the end of humanity, which might not be a bad thing for the planet if you think about it. There will come a point when benefits will be vouchers, so you can only spend at designated places. Yeah, exactly. Crap from vending machines, at least you'll be healthier. Dotty lady. Yeah, there is that. But no, I mean it's you know, that's the light art to look at it, and I try and put the, you know, the light side on things the best I can, but you just can't, can you? Half the time. I mean, it's just so shocking that there's, you know, there's not a lot we can do to stop it. It's gone too far already, and I've not even mentioned AI yet. You know, who is controlling AI? You know, people believe what they see on AI as well. Prostitution is legal in the UK, solicitation isn't, which is an awful loophole for traffickers. Yeah, as long as it's done discreetly. AI is a terrible tool. So is Keir Starmer. Sorry. You'll have all seen it. I was going to show you the video, but you've all seen it. But this made me laugh. I went to the Southport riots and all I got was this lousy vasectomy on a t-shirt, and it's a brick. You all know exactly what I'm talking about. And I mean, karma, you know, it does come to people. His dad was a toolmaker. Yeah, as someone said on one of the comedy panel programmes, his dad was a toolmaker. Yeah, well, they made Keir Starmer, didn't they? So, yeah. His dad should have kept his tool in his pants. Or at least wrapped it up. Remember, there was a thing I think I showed last week or the week before. I wish I could travel back in time and give Keir Starmer's dad a condom. This is the moment riot cops clashed with protesters in Newton Heath tonight. Police officers had been pelted with rocks, bricks and bottles. So they go and attack them, but they, you know, if it's in Leeds, that's fine. Do what you want. Two-tier Starmer. I'm trying to break this up so we can, I don't know whether that's actually relevant or not, we'll go with it. Oh no, it's not, we'll come back to that later. Ignore that, you didn't see that, you've got to laugh at that later on, okay? So, another meme, we demand to live in safety, and it's a boatload of men on one of the dinghies, and underneath is a little girl holding the middle finger up, saying, so do we, now cough. And that's basically, Keir Starmer is not reading the room, and that is the problem. This is the silly, stupid section. Police appealing for witnesses to a brawl and assault outside a Wigan car wash in which weapons were brandished. This is between Newtown and the Carnegie Library, if you're familiar with Wigan. It's on Ormskirk Road, or it could be Warrington Road. No, it's Ormskirk Road, old petrol station. And there's a video of these guys in the middle of the street walking around with what looked like machetes. But someone described it as a saw. And yeah, as you can see, seem reasonable gentlemen, all there. You know, what could possibly go wrong? This is spirited. This is after the Keir Starmer statement and press conference, which I covered earlier on. You have just managed to degenerate the millions of ordinary people with genuine fears and concerns, which will no doubt inflame tensions in the UK further. How dare you? You utter buffoon. Just resign. Keir Starmer doesn't know his arse from his elbow, and basically, if you say like I say, we want to stop the boats, we want people who to come over here, who are legally entitled to come over here, and we want to send the people back who are not legally entitled to come over here, that makes me right wing, then Keir Starmer doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's an absolute fucking waste of space. Toast butter, cream cheese with garlic, and I'm best tea ever. No, it's not, because it's got cream cheese and toast butter. I'm allergic to dairy products. I had KFC gravy burger, the true Elder Gamer fashion, so it went all over your top. That particular car wash is gross. Went about 3 weeks ago, and I swear the drains were so bad I was heaving. Smells like there's a dead body down there. Not joking. Probably is, to be fair, because I'm sure there was a stabbing there at the same place a few weeks ago. A few years ago, months ago, whatever. Sanford Police, we can confirm a police dog has been suspended from activity duties following an incident at a mostly peaceful Far Central rightish protest. And there's a dog that bit a guy who was talking to the police officers, and they've suspended the dog for being a naughty dog. Yeah, there was something happened there that was unpleasant. It might have even been a year ago, I don't know, but yeah, there was something that went on there. If you Google it, you'll find it. Protest kicking off in Sunderland tonight. Obviously, this is pretty early. Riot police out in full force with dogs and drones. So Keir Starmer has exasperated, not controlled public anger. I must admit, it's getting to the stage now where you're thinking, you know, if it was peaceful, I might even go to them, but it's not, so I'm not doing. In this case, British police did not use dogs, truncheons, and did not arrest anyone. This is a still from a video. The gentleman with the white t-shirt on is pretending, or is maybe not pretending, but is certainly thrusting his short area, where his shorts are, into this lady police officer, and nothing happens at all. Nothing. The video goes on for quite a while. Nothing happens. Then he walks off, and she's laughing. Yay. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, he says, "Oh no, it's too early for that nonsense." Is this it? No, that's ignore that as well. There we go, police van, that'll be the one. Southport erupts into violence with protesters arrested as police van blazes. This is when the riot started in Southport. Protests erupt across UK as mob marches on Hartlepool following a clash in London, which we covered earlier on. So this is the news being reported. Southport protests spread to London as seething mob chants "Save our kids." I mean, they are extremists. I don't agree, like I say, with everything they're doing. I kind of agree to a degree with the sentiment of what they're on about, but not the methods. Goaded man in Southport riots hit by flying rock dubbed "Perfect Karma." The ugly scenes from the horrific Southport riots. One bloke got what was coming to him after goading riot police, only for a flying debris to hit him in the worst place possible. He got hit on the back of the head. He puts his hand up, puts his hand down, and there's more blood on it than there was on... I can hear a weird high-pitched screaming noise. Anyway, more blood. It's probably the Chinese trying to get me. They might be next door, I don't know. Anyway, oh, you heard that noise? Sorry, Annie. You take care. Have a good night. Oh, it's the cats having a fight in the back garden. It's alright. It's cats howling at each other. Anyway, so this guy, he puts his hand down and he's got more blood on his hands than Donald Trump did when he was shot. After he popped his blood thing in his head, allegedly. Some bright crap comes out on the internet, doesn't it? Anyway, as he turns round, he gets a brick right in the bollocks. And yeah, instant karma. The guy's an absolute moron. And he deserved what he got. And I have no sympathy for him. And the good news is, he won't be able to have kids. So, you know, every cloud and all that. Southport stabbing judge shares reasons he allowed the suspect to be named, which we don't name. The youth from Banks, who until now could not be named for legal reasons, was charged with murdering the youngsters overnight and is now identified and pictured. And there is a picture of him in his school uniform, obviously an older picture. And then a little bit further down, and this was brought up earlier, where are we? Dum-de-dum-de-dum. That's a picture of him dressed as Doctor Who. Yeah, he was on, what was it, Children in Need, the irony. Riots erupt in Sunderland as thugs launch beer barrels at the police. Violent protests across the UK continue to break out after hundreds of rioters have descended on Sunderland, hurling objects at police in attendance. It comes after civil unrest in Southport, London and Hartlepool. So we're getting more up to date now with what's going on. Same picture but slightly different headline. 9 UK cities dubbed no-go areas as riots set for this weekend. And they have a full list like they do when shops are closing. The Home Office has issued a warning to protesters saying we are watching you amid reports of planned demonstrations across several cities in the UK in the coming days. That included Wigan, which has wanted to be an actual city for quite a while now, so we're getting its wish. Riot yobs hit in private with brick unmasked as excited local party animal. A friend of the man now infamously hit in the groin during the riots in Southport says his pal got excited during the unrest caused by the death of 3 young girls. It wasn't caused by the death of 3 young girls. The deaths of the 3 young girls was used as a catalyst for this, falsely. However, I think in a week or two we'd be where we are now anyway, regardless of what went on. And that is the truth. Well, wrong one, but that does show a full list available. What's he doing? No. So yeah, that is it for that news. So now we get on to the lighter news, which Annie was after, but he's now gone. So this is Starmer live facial recognition plan would usher in national ID campaigners warn, and this was taken from the Guardian webpage. So not some weirdo sat in his own in a bedroom talking rubbish. We always have to have a picture of Banksy, and this is current. This is an Olympic dressed athlete hurling a missile. Very political, but in a subtle way, and I like that. Meanwhile, in Australia, speculation mounts after Rex, the airline, never heard of them either, halts share trading. The future of Rex Airlines remains in question this morning after the budget-friendly carrier suspended trading on the Australian Stock Exchange. The Transport Union estimates roughly 2,000 jobs are affected by the trading halt, with the airline expected to address the decision in the coming days. Yeah, exactly. This is what I keep going on about, Maz. And I've been going on for months. Everyone's going on about the UK economy being bad. And then they're saying, well, it's Brexit. And it's, Brexit. If we hadn't voted Brexit, it won't be so bad. And then it's COVID. And we handled it badly and all this kind of stuff. And it's the war in Ukraine. We handled that badly as well. Blah, 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 blah. Australia isn't affected by all of them. Certainly not Brexit. And they're as well. So, yeah. These so-called environmentally friendly wind turbines are all well and good. But surely, statistically, 50% of the time the wind is blowing in the other way. This will make them spin in the opposite direction, sucking power from the grid instead. I'm only a butcher, and I figured that out, so why are we paying boffins like Professor Brian Cox fat research grants for us is anyone's guess. So yeah, it's basically saying when the wind blows the wrong way for these wind turbines, then, well, it's going to take energy out of the national grid. We're coming up to that in a bit, don't worry, Dotty Lady. BP to develop green hydrogen project in Spain. Why are they not doing it in the UK? Why are we not leading? Batteries, electric cars are not the future, never have been. They are less environmentally friendly than petrol. Period. If you disagree, you're wrong. So a lot of the companies now, including Toyota and BMW, are now going down the hydrogen route. I think even BMW's stopped advertising the fact they do electric cars. We've already got the infrastructure for hydrogen. We've already got petrol stations. We don't have a lot of waste from hydrogen like we do with batteries. You can't even put a little battery in the bin legally. I know everyone does, but you can't. You're not allowed to. It's against the law. How the hell are you going to get rid of car batteries? Absolute nonsense. Car batteries. And we're done. Quite literally, not a man, a legally recognised fit. We're coming to it. Voluntary administration for Rex Airlines. We heard about this earlier on. Regional Airlines Rex has entered voluntary administration. The company confirmed the news in a statement on Tuesday night following the mounting speculation after it suspended share trading on the Australian Stock Exchange. This comic, are nice biscuits pronounced nice or nice? I always pronounce it nice, but my wife insists that it is nice, says Barry Macbeth in Barnes. Well, how do you pronounce it? I pronounce them as nice, although I don't think they are. I think the name's wrong. Is this legal? Viewers are flipping out over Dutch Olympic swimmer Arno Campo. Okay, it's not Campo, it's Cummings. Viewers are flipping out over the Dutch Olympic swimmers Arno Campo's trunks. Apparently they're see-through. I don't think they're see-through. I think it's just the colour of it, because sometimes you see people, particularly in this weather, and you think they've got no top on, but they have. It's just the top's like a sandy colour, and it's the same colour as lightly tanned skin. Hey Flink, let's calm down, we'll get to that, don't worry. Puns about communism aren't funny unless everyone gets them. Think about it. If cats could text you back, they wouldn't. True. We've done that one. Another one of these signs. Whoever said one person can't change the world never ate an uncooked bat. Just genius. I love that one. It's just, yeah, my humour. Have we done this one? I don't know whether we've done this one or not. Yeah, that's the man obscuring his face. We've done that one. See, I'm doing them out of order, so it's a bit messed. Bilson's enters administration, also in Australia. Iconic Aussie brewery Bilson has entered voluntary administration after more than 150 years, making them the 20th independent brewery to either shut up shop or be restructured or enter administration in a year. The company, which produces ready-to-drink vodka drinks, craft beer and cordial at the Victorian brewery, today announced the excruciating and sad news. Accounting software global outage. Again, this is a problem doing everything online. The accounting software giant Xero, with an X, is right now suffering a global outage. Then, not now. Well, it might be now. Affecting thousands of accounting teams in a critical time of the month. The New Zealand-based company has over 4 million subscribers in 180 countries, providing everything from invoicing to payroll services to small and large businesses. When everything's online and it goes belly up, everyone suffers. And this is just the order that came up. This is not pre-planned. This is literally the next image. The I-team, after I tell them that turning my laptop off and back on again doesn't solve the problem. And it's a picture of some very confused and looking dogs, which I think even that dog there looks like, which I thought was funny, considering the previous story, which is a story that was previously done. I need to, yeah, there we go. It made me laugh anyway. I think it's funny. It's a dog thing. I'm not a big fan of dogs, but you know. Chocolate contaminated with toxic metals, a recent study finds. A new study has found dark chocolate, the only chocolate I can eat, and similar cacao products are contaminated with lead and cadmium, two neurotoxic metals that are linked to cancer, chronic disease, or reproductive and development issues, especially in children. As natural elements are in the Earth's crust, heavy metals that are in the soil which crops are grown in cannot be avoided. Some crop fields and regions, however, contain more toxic levels than others, partly due to overuse of metal-containing fertilizers and ongoing industrial pollution. So even dark chocolate that was meant to be good for you is bad for you. Silver for stubbly cock. That's how I read it anyway. That's why I put it up, really. Australia's only interested in Australians at the Olympics. They always have been. It's one of those, isn't it? You know, Australia gets silver and bronze and fourth place in a relay race or whatever. Not a relay race, in a 100-metre sprint. And they don't mention the gold medal winner because they're not Australian, and they don't mention whoever come third, but the fifth, but they mention first, second and fourth. And it does amuse me. I mean, biased, I suppose you could say. It's also an interesting picture as well. I mean, the cameraman for that has got to be very brave. But yeah, I did read it as stubbly cock, and obviously it's stublity kook, but it did make me chuckle. Aussies are patriotic people. They are extremely patriotic. They don't give a crap about anyone else, which is fair enough. Here we go. Lee Anderson. You know, that well-informed politician who's been in every single party and is now an MP in the House of Commons for Reform UK, which is why I was on my doubts about Reform UK. But anyway, man attacks woman. But it's okay, folks, as this is the Olympics where they think it's okay for men to punch women. And the punishment is a possible gold medal. Shameful. Put this female boxer in with Mike Tyson. Now, as already been said in the chat, although if you've listened to this on podcast you can't read the chat, things put it as, where is it? She's got a genetic predisposition which gives her elevated levels of testosterone. She does have a female anatomy from birth. Mike Tyson would dip out. He's nearly 60. Okay, is that wrong with being nearly 60? Chris Choi from ITV, all-time classic post from Andy Murray, who's retired now from professional tennis after being defeated in the semi-finals of the men's doubles, and he's tweeted or X'd, never even liked tennis anyway, which is genius. I always thought he had no personality. It turns out he's actually quite funny. This is scary. My cat's shadow this morning, does anyone know why this happened? And then someone's put, I hate to break it to you, but your cat is secretly a fifth dimensional elder god. Genius. Tesla cars, recalled because they're fucking shite. Almost 35,000 Teslas have been recalled over a serious malfunctioning defect which could see the bonnet unlatched and fly up while the owner is driving. Notice has been issued for Model Y and Model 3 cars made between 2020 and 2024. Owners will be contacted by Tesla for an over-the-air software update to be installed on all affected cars. So yeah, it's a way of slowing the cars down. They've got incredible torque and locking people inside. Did you hear about China's all EVs set on fire? Which is why EVs are not a safe thing, and they are not going to save the planet. Because when they're set on fire, they are actually releasing very toxic chemicals, more so than a normal car catching fire. And also, the fires can burn for days if not properly treated, and you cannot pour water on a lithium battery fire. No. Throwback to when Jeremy Clarkson was a lesbian. No idea what. Just made me laugh. We need something that makes me laugh. From Yorkshire, you know. To celebrate Yorkshire Day. Hey up. Went red, light shows, how the horses. That wasn't a wig, that was his hair. But that amused me as well. When red light shows, wait here. No. Hey up, lad. Just hang on a bit. Oh, horses. Keep Starmer. That one. Sports Secretary Lisa Nandy says she will be speaking to sporting bodies about inclusion, fairness and safety after what she described as an incredibly uncomfortable watch when asked about the Olympic boxing gender row. Yeah, she's not fit for purpose, I'm sorry. I mean, she's not my MP, I say. I even put on a tweet that she did, resign now. She's got a wish, she's become a member of the cabinet, very minor member of the cabinet. So, call off and leave us alone. Justin, Donald Trump says he will ban biological males from competing in women's sports, and Elon Musk has said good, which is great. But as has been pointed out already, the competition about the boxer, or the confusion about the boxer, is nothing to do with that. But it does make sense. She doesn't even know where Wigan is. She does if there's a photo opportunity. Now this is kind of genius until you think about it. In South Korea, the solar panels in the middle of the highway have a bicycle path underneath, so cyclists are protected from the sun and isolated from traffic, and the country can produce clean energy. So yeah, tick tick tick. The problem is that they're in the middle of a motorway, which is probably one of the most polluted places to be. Would you want to ride a bike in the middle of a motorway? It'd probably kill you. We should do that in Britain and make every cyclist ride in the middle lane underneath that thing. Oh, genius. Obviously, that's a joke. Breaking news. Swiss parents who had their child taken from them by authorities for refusing to give her puberty blockers have lost their court case. Switzerland. And Elon Musk says same thing is happening in California. I've said this before, I'll say it again, no doubt I'll say it again and again and again. Anyone who gives a child puberty blockers is a paedophile. That's it. There's no coming back from that. You are a paedophile. You are messing with the genitals of a child. Even worse, if that's even possible, than an actual paedophile. Because you're messing with their internal bodies. So yeah, I think all these charities, everyone who runs these charities, everyone who's suggested, any doctors that's prescribed them, anyone who's given them, any clinics that have done it, anywhere in the world, they should all be on trial for paedophilia. Full stop. And chemically, yeah. Absolutely. Fuming. So let's have a look at some pretty birds. Oh, it's Banksy. Okay, then maybe not. So this is a load of pigeons holding up signs. Migrants not welcome. Go back to Africa. Keep off our worms. And it's like a bird, a migratory bird that the pigeons are holding these placards to, which kind of puts the point across, doesn't it, in a way. Talking of pigeons, I was walking along the canal a few days ago, and I saw a bird swimming in the canal. Not unusual, but it was swimming in a really odd way, and I'm like, that's funny. So I got my phone out to video it, because it looked like it had been watching the Olympics, and it was doing the butterfly, kind of, you know, arms out and then ducking its head and doing that. It's only when I got my phone out and then got close to it, I realised it was a pigeon, and it was in the bit, you know, on a canal or any water, when you get those little, looks like watercress, little leaves growing, little roots underneath. It obviously thought that was grass and had landed on it, but obviously it's not a duck, so it can't swim on the top or whatever you call it. So it was drowning, but thankfully for it had got to my side of the bank. So I leant over to where it was, and it was exhausted. You could tell it was exhausted. And I managed to just about, I mean, the bank itself was quite high up, it wasn't a shallow bank, but thankfully I managed to get my hand underneath the pigeon, and carefully lifted out the water, and then I put it on the bank side of the canal. And some people were walking past, and some young girls came up, and they started scaring the pigeon, because it had obviously had a bit of a horrific time. And the pigeon started moving back towards the canal, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, no, don't fall in again, because if you go any further away from the bank, I won't be able to rescue you, you're going to die. So at that point, instead of using one hand, I put my hands around it, and it flapped a little bit, but I know how to do it. Put my hands around it and held it like that, and picked it up, and carried it across the towpath, and there's a big metal fence with a gap underneath. So I put it down, and it kind of shuffled its way underneath, because obviously its feathers were soaking, it couldn't fly, it had to dry itself out. I was a bit worried about rats and other predators and all that kind of thing, but I thought, well, I've done my bit, I can't do anything else. And so I left it, and walked home, and that was that. Anyway, the following day I was a bit concerned, so I thought I'll go back to the site and see if A, there's a dead pigeon there, or B, there's loads of feathers, which means it's been attacked or whatever, or C, there's nothing there at all to even indicate that the pigeon had been there. And thankfully for me, it was C, there was nothing there. It didn't look like I'd even put the pigeon there. So I'm hoping that the pigeon dried out and managed to get itself to safety. I saw a woman put a pigeon in the bin in Wigan Town Centre. Then asked by DJX, hi DJX by the way, what does that accomplish? I don't know why she did it. It looked injured and was in the middle of the street. She picked it up, I thought she was going to help it, and she chucked it in the bin. Yeah. Elder, it will most likely reward you by shitting on you next time you're walking there. I must admit, that had occurred to me. But no, I don't want to say, I mean, I'm not a big fan of pigeons or anything like that, but I don't want to, if I can rescue something from dying, then I'm going to do it. Seems fair. This again, when I pay my utility bills over the phone to one of these automated payment systems, I have to jump through hoops giving passwords and answering security questions. I'm so glad that security is tight, as the last thing I want is one of these cunning, unscrupulous internet fraudsters paying my water bill. Which, again, genius. And as I was saying before, BT to develop green hydrogen project in Spain. Oh no, we've already done that one. Sorry, it was after I've done the thing. Yeah, sorry, ignore me. Move on. 35-foot horny beast is America's answer to Loch Ness Monster lurking in a river. Florida locals have been petrified of four-legged horned beast that has supposedly been lurking in the murky depths of St. John's River for the best part of 2 centuries. Bullshit. Hashtag just saying. It is though. Russia developed a hydrogen project. Yes, Maz. It's not the kind of thing we're talking about. Man's vile act in UK town turns stomachs as witness shouts, "That's dirty that." I mean, yeah, that's dirty that. Shoppers in a Merseyside town were left disgusted by the horrifying sight of a man dropping his trousers in broad daylight before shamelessly taking a huge dump. You've got to be careful when you've still got your pants on though and you're doing it on the floor, because it could end up in the back of your pants and then that leads a right mess. So I've been told. It's not a real monster, Toff. Come on, calm down. It's a CGI impression of it. I did see a guy in Wigan having a pee against the hoardings around the demolition site. Didn't look of English descent, shall we say. Not about and everything, just pissing on the thing. Yeah, right, great. is releasing the Loch Ness Monster. A woman finds headless human body on beach, but the truth is even weirder. And look at the toes on it for a start. The woman has just days before found the bodies of 2 goats near where she was walking, and so discovered the discovery gave her quite a fright before she realised what it was. It was a headless, naked man sex toy. A proper full-size, life-size one that had washed up on the beach. Like they do, apparently. Olympians need medical attention from anti-sex beds and pay millions to escape. Uncomfortable beds, no air conditioning and bland food are just some of the complaints US athletes have about the Olympic Village in Paris, a gaffe that has reportedly cost £1.2 billion. Fun at the beach. Goldfish. Oh, cute animal picture of the day. Experts admit goldfish memories are longer than 3 seconds after all. It turns out that pet goldfish might be a lot more interesting than first thought. That's because one aquatic expert has debunked a common misconception about the little creature. To be fair, I always thought it was 10 seconds. So that's why I always did the joke of, oh look, a castle. That's smart, I'm going to swim through the drawbridge. Oh look, a castle. That's smart, I'm going to swim through the drawbridge. You know, that kind of thing. Talking of decent picture stuff, Arctic Bigfoot caught on film chasing something during long lost documentary. A crew who were working on a nature documentary managed to accidentally catch on camera what appears to be a massive Sasquatch type figure sprinting across the Arctic. I mean, come on. If there's a bloody thing, I mean, the Arctic is not a heavily dense place. So what the hell? I thought sex on the beach was a drink. UK's biggest pub company gets 250 million to save boozers from £2 billion debt. I'm pleased we have certainly truly focused on what we do best, which is bringing people together and our passion for great pubs, bars and venues. And it's a picture of slug and lettuce. Not sure if they're involved, but slug and lettuce are something that I picked up on when I was doing my visits around different towns, cities and whatnot. And I always said, oh, it must be Rich Rennie because they've got a slug and lettuce. But I also commented, why would you name a restaurant stroke pub stroke dining experience slug and lettuce? Because neither of them are very palatable. But anyway, they've done quite well. Is that picture Luke Marsden or the Wigan Joker? Whoa, calm down. Frozen endangered animals should be stored on moon in Noah's Ark type mission. Pollinators, endangered species and culturally important animals would be among the first species to be shipped off to the moon, according to plans for the Lunar Ark. So basically, because we're destroying the planet, we're going to put the animals on the moon. Now, we're not actually putting the animals on the moon. They are not going to be rhinos walking around on the moon with spacesuits on. What they're on about is the embryos and cells from the animals being frozen and taken to the moon, which is very, very cold indeed, where they will be kept safely. So if the Earth is destroyed in a cataclysmic event, we could always repopulate using the cells and the embryos from the moon. See? See you, DGX. Nice to have you on board. A high street killer blow dealt with hundreds of stores to close. Costa Coffee, Poundland, Robert Dyers, the Card Factory, Peacock, Savers have already shut their doors this year, and they'll soon be joined by other major high street players. High street is suffering, and not in a good way. Not that there is a good way for the high street to suffer. Meanwhile, high street chain closes all UK stores with immediate effect in a blow to shoppers. Panic ye not. Beauty brand Morphe only had 7 shops in the United Kingdom, but has closed all of them. Phew! I don't think I've ever even heard of Morphe, other than the plasticine character off Vision On. and it's closed all of them and its makeup counters without warning, making all 73 staff redundant in the process, which is a shame for them, but I don't think it's a major blow for the high street. Dr. Death pods cause storm over last questions, and leaf tip to stop and drop. The coffin-like personal gas chambers designed to carry out assisted suicides have caught attention on Reddit, where thousands of users have speculated over the final questions people might be asked. So are you sure you want to do this? I mean, if these are pods and they're unmanned, and you press a button to do it, what's to stop people murdering people? Hey. Less violence in schools after mobile phone ban in Australia. Phone ban, not van, according to the Department of Education. Fresh data shows 50%. Fresh data shows 54% fewer behavioural issues and 10% fewer violent incidents since a mobile phone ban was introduced 1 year ago in South Australian public schools. The state government says principals reported immediate changes in behaviour, have seen an increased demand for extracurricular activities or clubs to join in break time. So yeah, funnily enough, take the phones off kids, they behave better. I hope you're not claustrophobic. I hope you're not scared of small spaces, is the final question you'd ask. The next James Bond will be made to satisfy the woke brigade. Bond will start off as a man and will transgender to a woman. The film will be called Cock to Pussy. Oh, it's inappropriate, but what the hell? We need something light-hearted. We need to have a laugh. Why are we not allowed to laugh anymore? Anyway, that brings us to breaking news. And what's breaking probably is cities breaking. Okay, famous UK city could get huge new tram network after 18 billion scheme shelved. I don't understand how that works. Both say Labour's stringent policies on deportations and convictions could be good. Northern Lights red alert issued for today with aura visible across London and UK on Sunday, August the 4th. New poll shows Camilla Harris is doing better against Trump than thought. Andrew Bailey, the governor of the Bank of England, pours cold water on Rachel Reeves' economic claims. How UK violence protests unfolded, apparently. Jeremy Hunt blasts Labour's black hole fiction and warns Rachel Reeves she will regret lying. Rachel Reeves outlines likelihood of tax rises in October. UK riots fear troops could hit the streets of Britain as Peter Bleaksley predicts escalation of violence, and that's from GB News, so that's legitimate then, isn't it? Sommer tells rioters you will regret it as after far-right thuggery on UK high streets continues. Zelensky welcomes first F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine before demanding more. Former cricketer's family avoided leaving home in Rotherham amid riots. Israel in multi-front war, Netanyahu warns, and who's caused all this? Police investigating death threats sent to actress Amanda Abington. Royal Navy ships and RAF helicopters on standby in Middle East over fears of escalation of conflicts. 8 in 10 dog owners put off letting pets into water by sewage crisis. Blood tests for over 40s could save the economy 12 billion a year if offered on NHS. Funeral of Jay Slater, who died in Tenerife, to be a celebration of his life. Mourners asked to attend wearing blue. UK weather forecast predicts north-south divide on heavy storms, but weather forecasts are rubbish. Storm honey period is over as approval ratings plummet. He got 1 million less in votes than Jeremy Corbyn got. I mean, he didn't have approval rating at the beginning. Jesus. UK Met Office issues 27-hour yellow weather warning for, you can't really tell that, Scotland. Well, no one cares. Calls for 25% tax break, super deduction as Labour overlooks critical issue. UK E. coli outbreak, what are the symptoms and how does it spread? Adam Peaty absent after worst week as Team GB surrender Olympic crown to USA. Why are there riots in the UK? Reasons for far-right violence. Oh, there's a picture there of 50 officers in a straight line blocking a road. Far-right and Muslims clash in fresh riots. Why I'm not buying a Tesla X again after only driving 20,000 miles. And building a new stadium is the right move for Man United. Transport Secretary set to crack down on the cost of motor insurance, and then she can tax it. Mount Etna volcano eruption disrupts flights at Catania International Airport. I think. Oh, Sunak issues warning to Shelby cabinet minister accused of inflaming riots. And yeah, that could be it for that. So I've got any comments on that bit. We need thug hunters. Yeah, I mean, I'm a concerned citizen, but it doesn't make me far right. You know, I wouldn't go around smashing up places and threatening the police. But, you know, that's what's happening. Anyway, let's have a look at what live news is doing. Now, you won't be able to listen to this or see it because it's on the TV, and the TV is not connected to the thing. So, let's go there. Right, that's a bit rubbish. Sky News, there we go. Right inciters face reckoning, says the Times. International Boxing Association President Umar Krevlev says Olympics is destroying women's sport. Violence in Bangladesh leaves more than 20 dead as police clash with protesters calling for the Prime Minister to resign. More news analysis on the Sky podcast. So yeah, there's pictures of people holding sticks, baseball bats and stuff. And yeah, the whole thing is a complete and utter cluster. Courts are being open 24/7 apparently, according to Kier. Where are we going to get the judges for this? More than 145 people arrested after violent riots across the UK leave police officers injured. No excuse for that, to be fair. Fire started outside Tamworth Holiday Inn as Staffordshire police urged the public to avoid the area. Rioters target Holiday Inn hotels, housing asylum seekers in Rotherham and Tamworth. We're having, no, it's not holiday. South Yorkshire Police Assistant Chief Constable Lindsay Butterfield says, "We have seen our officers attacked and at least 10 injured in Rotherham." Not many were attacked or injured in Leeds because they all tough, didn't they? Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, two-tier Kier, says rioters will face the full force of the law after displays of violence, not protest. Home Office announces new emergency security for mosques with rapid response to violent disorder. What happens if they attack a pub? Police Minister Dame Diana Johnson says government could order courts to sit for 24 hours to tackle violent protests. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden says he hopes Iran will back down after Hezbollah fires around 30 rockets from Lebanon towards northern Israel. So yeah, there you go. So that is the news, breaking news from around the world via Sky. So yeah, massive show tonight, 2 hours 10 minutes, only meant to be an hour, but it doesn't matter. We had really good chats and conversations with people, so much so that it's not even managed to keep all the chat on the thing because we've had too many people talking. We've had 329 visitors, we've had 9 likes, we've got 7 concurrent visitors. Peak was 25 viewers at one point, which is a record for this show, to be fair. So Toff TV, NE, Rolo, JT, Rachel, Stephen, Kelly, Dream Frequency, Flink, Mass 501, Andy the Cyclist, a lot of chat, which is fantastic. I think it's the best chat we've ever had. Dotty Lady, I don't know if I've said a Dotty Lady or not. Anita, Glass Gaza, she said. Corporal. So it's nice to have some new people on. Maz and Flink. And we can agree to disagree on certain things as well, I think that's only fair. Spuds, Alan Barton, wow, the amount of chat that's gone on, it's great, love it. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Average view duration is 3 minutes 55. A DJX, and that's it. Flink says, thanks Elder, good informative stream. Dotty Lady, thank you. Triple thumbs up, triple clap. I've just got the clap off an old lady. Oh, sorry, a Dotty Lady. You may not be old. I'm old, but anyway. So yeah, that is it. Thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. It's been great fun. We covered a lot of topics and all that kind of thing. So yeah, Maz says good stream as well, thank you. I'm old as well. I caught the end. Don't worry, Maz. You can watch it all back and listen to it as a podcast. God, that's terrifying, isn't it? Anyway, I'll be seeing you. Thank you for watching. Until next time. See you, Toff. See you, Alan. Bye. Drink more Guinness. No!